in order to foster additional growth in the shipping industry across the globe. The competition between Chinese companies for the Canal Century project costs $300 billion. Before we go on, subscribe to this channel to watch about the most shocking and amazing world projects. Ready? Let's begin. Since the beginning of the 21st century, there has been an increase in the amount of commerce, communication, and transportation that takes place between countries all over the world in comparison to the use of roads and railways, or air transportation. The biggest advantage. One advantage of transport by sea is that it can accommodate a great deal of cargo at comparatively low cost. According to relevant data, at the moment, the sea accounts for the transportation of between 85 and 90% of all of the world's goods. The most well-known sea canal construction projects in the world today are the Panama Canal and the Suez Canal, both of which are well known to the general public. The United States constructed a canal in Panama that stretches between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans and is known as the Panama Canal. Using the Panama Canal as the passageway, it is possible for freighters to omit circumnavigating the South American continent. The British and the French worked together to dig the Suez Canal, which is a waterway that connects the Mediterranean Sea and the Indian Ocean. However, as a result of the rapid increase in freight volume, the waterways of the two canals have become relatively narrow. As a result, they are unable to fulfill the transportation requirements of large or extremely large freighters. Because of the limited options available to so many freighters, the transportation cycle must be lengthened accordingly. In order to satisfy the growing demand for shipping, there is a pressing requirement for a larger canal route, and this requirement applies equally to Nicaragua and the rest of the world. In point of fact, preparations for the construction of the Nicaragua Canal have been going on for close to 2 centuries, but the canal itself has not yet been built. Where can I find the reason? First, let's take a look at the current circumstance. In the Central American nation of Nicaragua, Nicaragua is situated roughly in the geographic center of Central America, with coastlines on both the Caribbean Sea and the Pacific Ocean on either side of the country. It is considered to be one of the poorest nations on the planet. They are all dependent. The traditional method of obtaining income is through the import and export of products derived from agriculture and animal husbandry. The level of its industry is very far behind that of other countries. In addition to this, its economic growth is, additionally, very slow. The Suez Canal has the potential to bring in annual revenues for Egypt of nearly 4.8 billion United States dollars, which would represent more than 2% of Egypt's annual GDP. In only 10 years, Panama has risen to become one of the wealthiest countries in Central America thanks to the construction of the Panama Canal. As a consequence of this, Nicaragua hopes to capitalize on the country's advantageous geographic location by excavating a canal in order to enhance the economic standing of the nation. It is anticipated that once the canal is finished, it will be able to bring in a minimum annual revenue of at least 5.5 billion USD and will bring nearly 200,000 jobs to the people who live in the area during the construction of the canal. Even after the canal is finished being built, it is possible that Nicaragua will become one of the most prosperous nations in Central America. Someone in the 19th century had the idea of constructing a canal in Nicaragua, and it was considered seriously at the time. Calculations that were pertinent to the design of the canal at that time had been made by the designers who participated in its design. If it is necessary to transport goods from New York to Japan because large cargo ships are unable to pass through the Panama Canal and the Suez Canal, then the total length of the detour will be greater than 24,000 kilometers, and it will take 36 days. However, if the canal in Nicaragua were to be opened, both the amount of time needed to complete the journey and the total distance would be reduced by 17,000 kilometers and 11 days, respectively. The first stone was laid for the Nicaragua Canal in 1883, when construction first got underway. During that time period, people had a fascination with finding gold, and large gold reserves were found in the state of California. Therefore, it was necessary to clear the way for gold to be transported via waterways. Because of this, the United States and Nicaragua parted ways when they each had their own requirements, and the United States was given the right to construct the first canal in Nicaragua. 1884 was the year that saw the official signing of the cooperation agreement. However, After the American personnel carried out on-site surveys in Nicaragua, they decided not to cooperate with the Nicaraguan government and instead focused their efforts on digging the Panama Canal. As a result, the first plan for the excavation of the Nicaragua Canal was abandoned. After that, numerous nations expressed interest in carrying out this project, but none of them were able to reach a consensus regarding the excavation. Following that, Russia dispatched a letter of intent regarding this undertaking. At that time, the two nations got together for a summit meeting, where they signed a pact to work together on the construction of the Nicaragua Canal. At that time, the estimated total capital expenditure for the project was $20 billion, and the duration of the construction period was anticipated to be 12 years. On the other hand, after Russia's arrival, it was determined that $20 billion would not be sufficient for exploration on the actual site. In addition to this, the building itself was quite difficult to construct, and there was absolutely no benefit to doing so. As a result, Russia abandoned the scheme. Following that, a number of countries came to negotiate and wanted to take control of the canal. But in the end, they all backed down and gave up. To what extent, then, is the digging process difficult? A canal in Nicaragua to begin, the country of Nicaragua is located in a very unique part of the world. Earthquakes and volcanic eruptions are common occurrences in this region. The United States of America gave up because of the concealed risks posed by the volcanoes in this region. In addition, Lake Nicaragua plays a significant role in the economy of the surrounding area as well as the way of life of the indigenous peoples. This is where the water for irrigation and household use comes from. Additionally, the local biological resources in this region of Nicaragua are of an exceptionally high quality. In addition to that, this location is home to a number of species that are extremely uncommon and cannot be found anywhere else. Additionally, the canal is connected to a significant portion of the Caribbean Sea's coral reefs, which is an impressive number. The area has not only been designated as a marine reserve for sea anemones, but it has also been added to the World Heritage List by the United Nations. In conclusion, the issue is as follows. In terms of financial commitment to the project, because Nicaragua is such a poor nation, it is not able to take on such a large investment. Additionally, the construction of the canal will have an impact on the farmland and residences of the people who live along the route. And the problem of relocating employees and providing them with adequate compensation is also a significant one. Therefore, as a result of the harsh environment, geographical location, and enormous investment required, the Nicaragua Canal has become a project that no one is willing to attempt to undertake. Despite this, Nicaragua was required to construct a canal in order to advance in its development. In the end, Nicaragua discovered a Chinese infrastructure, recruited a company team, and increased the project estimate. In the end, the HKN Group, owned by Chinese businessman Wang Jing, established the Nicaragua Grand Canal Development Company in Hong Kong to undertake the construction of the canal and obtain the right to operate it for 100 years. This was done so that they could obtain the right to operate the canal. After Chinese infrastructure companies had been successful in acquiring the right to undertake the construction of the project, the project will reportedly be one of the largest infrastructure projects anywhere in the world, according to a British media outlet. In addition, the completion of the project is not yet complete, but it is anticipated that it will be finished in the year 2020. Why? This is due to the fact that China faced a number of challenges from outside forces when it was getting ready to begin construction. The United States of America is concerned that the interests of the United States in shipping could be put at risk in the event that Chinese private companies are granted permission to construct the Nicaragua Canal and are awarded the right to operate it for a period of 100 years. The United States of America was responsible for the excavation and construction of the Panama Canal, as well as the maintenance and operation of the waterway, as was just mentioned. All of the canals in Central America can be compared to the Nicaragua Canal and the Panama Canal that is currently under construction. In the event that the Nicaragua Canal is finished, there will undoubtedly be increased levels of competition. Additionally, the Panama Canal holds a monopoly position in the Central American market. There will be disruptions to shipping. In addition to being swayed by the opinion of the general public, a large number of environmentalists, one after the other, demonstrated against the project in the surrounding area. Due to the unstable political and economic climate in Nicaragua in 2018, the project was put on hold and never resumed. On the other hand, Now that China and Nepal have resumed their diplomatic relations, it is possible that the project will once again be put back on the agenda to include the normalization of diplomatic relations and the ongoing deepening of economic ties between the two countries. Do you hold that view? Share your opinion in comments. Click on this video to watch about another shocking project you didn't know about.